on, everybody? Happy end of the Masters. Hopefully you enjoyed the finish of it, and it was exciting. Love seeing that tournament every year. I'm glad we got to play it in 2020. It was interesting to watch it because I think when you play at the Masters, especially in Amen Corner, it got me thinking about the wind and how the players have to adjust for that, especially on those really, really tight greens where you have to get the ball landing in certain areas. So with the new FlightScope Golf update, I wanted to answer the question, what is a club wind? I always hear that said, and I wanted to do that test today. So we're going to actually work this in two videos. We're going to go into the wind today and see what that is. We're going to try a couple different irons and just get a feel for what that could possibly be, because I think that's a really cool question you're going to be able to answer now with this new software that's come out. All right, so if you haven't seen this yet, we're going to be doing the new wind technology. We're going to be using the environment sensor. I'm going to put it on. Let's get a little data in here. We don't really need to see the direction per se. We're going to take a look at some shots and see what we got. So we're going to hit a 9-iron today and go from there. And you can see in the top left part of this screen, I do have the wind on. Let's turn it on here. And let's go ahead. I'm going to hit actually into the wind. So I'm going to point right back at my launch monitor here and do that. And what I can also do is if I go into the settings here and click on environments and then click weather conditions, I'm actually going to be able to set this how I want to. So wind, I want to actually hit into the wind on this first one. And then I'm going to set it, we're going to do a little game here. And before we do that, I'm going to hit a few shots and get a read for how far I'm hitting it. So let's do that first so we don't have any wind yet. And let's get a few numbers as we go. Okay, 125 in the air. 135, that's more normal for me, I'd say. Didn't hit that one particularly good. .133. Okay, so 9-iron today, about 130 yards. We'll call it 133 in the air as far as carry goes. So what I'm going to do is a club is about 10 yards, right? So we try to gap our clubs 10 yards. So what I want to do is actually find that wind point where we're going to have 10 yards. So what I'm going to do is go to settings, so I can do this myself. Go to environment. Click weather conditions. I've got the wind direction set into my face. And what I'm going to do is, let's take it up to 8 miles an hour first. Okay, 8 miles an hour straight into us. Let's see how that affects our shots. Okay, so we'll go take it all the way back out. Let's go. That one was pulled, so we can't really go off that one. Let's see. Let's do a couple more. That one got affected a lot. .111, so that's taking a lot off. I think that was a good one to compare. Okay, so 8 miles per hour in. You can see on this shot, this one I felt like was pretty good, pretty comparable. It was 120 yards in the air. So if I was hitting it around 132, 133, that actually is taking off even a little bit more wind than that. 113, so that one I hit a little higher, not as fast, and you could just see how that got eaten up as we're going. So that's only an 8-mile-an-hour wind into us. So let's change that up again. And we're going to take this down just a little bit. So let's go from 8, let's go to 6. And by the way, I've got this set at 77 degrees and 50% humidity. Okay, so just kind of trying to ballpark it here. You probably want to set those based on your area that you're in. So let's see, 6 mile an hour is into. There we go, 124. I was hitting at about 133, 134-ish, maybe getting a little looser. That was 124 there. Pretty close, 122. So you can see right there, it's about a 6 mile an hour wind into the face, and it's almost taking off a club on these 9 irons. So I think the next thing I want to try is let's try like a 6 iron and let's see what we get doing that, okay? All right, so we've got 6 iron here. First thing I want to do is I want to turn that wind influence off right now. So 0 miles per hour. We just got that turned off. And let's see what we get as far as hitting our shots. We're all good. Okay, 167 in the air. That one was hit better, 168. So hit a couple shots there. 168 pretty much is the carry right now. So let's go ahead. Let's head in. Let's get that wind back on. Wind influence. If you turn it off, you got to set that direction. So we're going to turn it down. And so, sorry, we're going into. So we're back at that same 6 miles an hour into. Let's see if that affects us, how that affects us. Okay, so with a 9 iron, what we're trying to see is this still a club? Is this still a club influence with a longer club? You know, it should be a flatter flight. Well, we smashed that one. I pulled that a little. And so far, we've hit 3 or 4 good ones there. And I hit them really good, and we actually haven't seen the number drop, maybe a yard. So that's interesting, and it's something I think we see with really good players. When you're hitting into the wind with a short iron, you're gonna have to keep that ball down. It's gonna get affected more backspin, higher launch, all that stuff. So let's see, what do I gotta go to with a 6 iron to be able to knock a club off? You know, let's try 10. You know, we're gonna actually double it. Let's go up to 12 with a 6. Okay, so 6 iron. 6 iron, 12 miles an hour into the face. Into our face. It's just not doing it. That one I hit I mean, that ball took off a little bit. Let's see if we can hit a couple here. That one I hit high right, so it got eaten up into the wind. You know, depending on how you hit it, it might get eaten up, but if you hit it really flat, and if I pull it a little bit, there we go. We're starting to knock off a few yards. So at 12 miles an hour, we're starting to knock off maybe 3 or 4 yards, but again, not what it was doing with the 9-iron, that's for sure. So I think something to pay attention to and try. So, I mean, let's go up. All right, so now I've got it on a 20 mile an hour into the wind. So all I did was move the wind up 20 miles per hour into, and let's see. There we go, so 20, that one I hit pretty good. 20 took that down, that actually took it down about 15 yards there or so. That was a good one. So yeah, 20 miles an hour is taking it down even more. It's taking it down about 50, that's about 14 yards on that. So what I'm seeing with the longer club is it really depends on how you hit it. You can almost negate that wind. Maybe not at 20, 20 is a lot, but you can negate that wind a little bit by how you strike it. Can I hit it a little flatter? Can I do that? But in general rule of thumb, if we're gonna have a club wind with a 6-iron, we're really gonna have to be, you know, about 15 to 16 miles per hour is what we're looking at into the face. So I think something to learn there, the wind affects your short irons more going into the wind. So there you have it. I think that's really interesting to see. Something I kind of always have known and have talked with players is that short irons into the wind are going to really get eaten up. Interesting to see though with the longer clubs that it doesn't get eaten up really at all, if any, and it took a lot of wind for that to really become a factor with those longer clubs. So something I'm going to think about. I would be interested to try this with a couple other clubs as well, maybe a 3-wood, see what we get there, hitting that off of the deck. But you can see on those longer clubs where you have a little bit more control, you can hit it flatter, you can hit it higher, that would also have a big effect on the wind. So I think something that could be really fun to practice is try hitting different shots that don't get affected by the wind as much. So a new really cool thing you can do with that environmental mode. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'd also love to see your results that you're getting in your tests. Leave them down below. What is your mile per hour? Is it varying from what mine is on what would affect your clubs? Leave that in the comments down below too. I'd be interested to hear that. And as always, if you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. We're going to be doing downwind, so you don't want to miss out on that. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.